Association of CPAs this morning, and it went a little bit longer than I thought, so again, I apologize. Well, let's go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Paul, I hate to put you on the spot. Would you like to do the prayer?
You say me, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Sure. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity to join today. Please provide us the guidance as we do the good work for the people here of Western Maryland. And please look over all of us here as we go forward with session later today and the weeks there to come. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Senator. We do have MML with us this morning, Angelica Bailey and Abigail Diaz. They just want to talk to us about MML's initiatives very briefly. So I'll go ahead and turn the meeting over to you folks.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Angelica Bailey Thupari. I'm the Legislative Director for the Maryland Municipal League. I'm joined by our CEO, Ms. Teresa Coons. We are very excited to be here. Thank you so much. We won't take up much of your time. We just wanted a few minutes, first of all, to meet Teresa. She just came on board in October and she's absolutely crushing it. We're very, very fortunate to have her. And also our legislative priorities this year. I know many of you are probably sick of us talking about police accountability boards by now, but quick summary. Back in 2021, when the police suite of legislation passed, there was a disciplinary framework established on the county level for police accountability boards and administrative charging committees. No problem with that, except that they are only allowed and mandated on the county level. So municipalities were completely left out of that. And out of our 157 members, 88 of them have their own police departments. So not only do we see it as an unequal forms of government, kind of an unfair situation, but we're also concerned with potential backlogs, especially in jurisdictions like Prince George's, where there are 27 municipalities, 25 of which have their own police departments. And then you also have cities like Cumberland, Cambridge, that have more police officers than their county counterparts. So this is something that we're going to be taking very seriously this year. We are optimistic that we can get some sort of meaningful municipal representation on these boards. We've met with presiding officers, with leadership, with the committee chairs. We have some strong sponsors. So we're very excited. We hope for your support. We're happy to answer any questions.
I just have one. Do you know why that bill failed last session?
Last session, that bill actually didn't come from MML. Of course, we supported it because it was in line with our initiative, but very early on in session, it was our understanding, particularly from leadership, that no one really wanted to open the can of worms that they thought that such a bill may create. It's a simple tweak, but anytime you talk about police reform legislation, there ends up being some sort of floor fight. And I think that leadership was concerned about that in an election year, so it didn't seem viable.
Yeah, I do know there were bills introduced to do that. I was just curious, so I appreciate that. Anyone else have any questions on police accountability boards for the municipalities?
And I think Teresa might have a few thoughts as well on some of our other priorities, but I'm here and available.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Coons?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's good to see you again. For those who don't recognize me, because we've been in the Zoom for 3 sessions, I was a realtor lobbyist for Maryland Realtors. So Delegate Weibel, we worked together on E&T a little bit and some of our subcommittee work. So it's good to see everyone in this role. Angelica is our lead advocate. She does a great job. So anytime you need anything from our team, please lean on her. I think there's about 2 other issues that you're going to see us take a stronger stance on this session. One is the Time to Care Act. It was the FMLA bill that passed. The regs are due this June, and it sounds like they're asking local towns and counties to actually provide funding starting in October. As many of you know, those fiscal budgets are already done or mostly done for this upcoming fiscal year. So we are going to be asking for a delay this year in terms of funding the project. Starting in October is really not viable for our cities and towns, and especially the county level. So I think a delay is something you're going to see from us. Additionally, the other regs coming out this year in cannabis is looking at perhaps getting cities and towns a percentage of the tax revenue that's coming from there. They are taking on, if they do decide to opt in, we're also asking for an opt out, I should add. If they decide to opt into either the growth side and cultivation and or a storefront and retail, we'd like to see those municipalities actually get some sales tax revenue. There's 20 other states this is passed in. Most already do get sales tax revenue. So those are two of some of our other big issues you may see this session from us, obviously, in addition to our police accountability.
So the meeting I just left, actually, that was a topic of discussion, and the thought was from the Senate that it would end up being a sales tax. So you're wanting for locals to have a share of that?
I share that. I think when I last spoke with Chairman Wilson, I was looking at 3.25% and having the locals receive some part of that, if it's sold in that town and or grown in that town borders, basically geography.
Okay.
And in the administration, we've spoken, had a few introductory conversations. We really just want to be at the table. It sounds like they're open to having that discussion. So we're hopeful that this will be a good revenue source for those towns and cities who do plan to opt into the sales part of cannabis.
Okay. It is a different animal, but I know in the past when locals have tried to tap into the sales tax, it didn't end well.
Yes. We're hoping this is our first foothold into a longer term strategy to help locals.
Okay. Anyone have any questions of Ms. Coons in regards to those items? I don't see any. Did you have any other issues or?
No, I just want to say thank you all. Like you've been wonderful. It's great to see our Washington County cities and towns do great. As you know, Hagerstown mayor is now going to go to the cabinet. So however we can help you, please let us know. We have heard from the administration. They like to take a little bit of a tour with their meetings around the state. So we're certainly going to bring up Washington County and your cities and towns to highlight those when we speak with them.
Certainly, we would welcome that.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next on the agenda, we had, I think, approval of minutes. And I am reminded, we do have our delegation counsel with us if he would like to introduce himself. Matthew, are you here?
Yes. Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm your delegation counsel. Nice to meet all of you and hopefully get to see you guys in person sometime.
So you're welcome to tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you go to school? How long you been with the state?
I went to Stevenson University for my undergrad in legal studies and then went to Hofstra Law School in New York. I was with Baltimore County State's Attorney after law school. And this is my first session here with DLS.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And we appreciate you providing technical expertise to our issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
We did send out a copy of last week's minutes. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to look those over. If you have, we can do a motion to approve or we can delay till next week.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion to approve by Senator Corman, seconded by Delegate Grossman. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? No opposed. Thank you all. Okay, so under old business, we have Washington County on the list. Sheriff's salary, that we do have that blue back for that. I will turn that in today. I guess the question is, do we want to cross-file that in the Senate as well to try to move that along a little quicker? Senator Corman, do you have any thoughts on that?
We can. We've had discussions in the past. Historically, I don't think our delegation has, but you and I have talked about it before. I'm more than happy to do that. So I think it would help the process. So just press the crossfire LR. Just have if Krista wouldn't mind, get in touch with our office, and we're happy to do that.
Okay, so we'll take care of that. We'll have the House drop today, and then we'll crossfile on the Senate. Code of Public Local Laws, the Electrical Board, and the Class 9 Distillery. Both those were submitted to drafting last week, so we don't have anything back on those to report. As soon as we do, we'll get it to you. Collective bargaining, I spoke with County Attorney Kirk Downey again yesterday. We will likely have the final language on that today, and as soon as we get that, we will submit that to drafting. Again, Kirk, just a reminder, that has to be today because tomorrow is the deadline for bill drafting. We can drop the language we have if you're not able to finalize it, just to put that placeholder in there.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
There was some material I have here. I guess it was maybe it was the bill from last year. Is that the same thing we're doing again, Kirk, or you're doing some tweaks to that?
Generally, it's the same thing.
Okay,
Same thing. I think there were some tweaks and it's basically adopted from Frederick County's language that the sheriff had provided. The sheriff had provided to us initially last year. So the Washington County language is basically drafted from that language. Senator, I know you also had a copy of Frederick County's.
Frederick County was the base. It is not exact.
Right.
right. My one question from what I've seen that they had last year and again this year, and obviously we have time to still review this, but there was some conversation. I'm just inquiring this because I don't, you're more the expert here, so we'll defer to you. In two of the sections, there's talks about finding arbitration. Does this lead towards finding arbitration, or is this not being able to do that, or what is that language specific about?
Senator, it's very difficult to hear you. I heard binding arbitration. That's all I could make out. Is
Correct.
Can you ask the question? Was the question if binding arbitration is in the draft language?
Correct.
It is not.
See the new language back. If the previous language, there is some talk to that in there.
I know that was brought up at our pre-legislative meeting by the gentleman presenting, but it was my understanding that wasn't voted on by their membership. Kirk, do you have any information on that?
I'm sorry, I missed the question because I had a technical difficulty here.
The question basically is whether binding arbitration is in the draft language.
I think the binding arbitration only has to do with whether the petition of the union to be recognized is in dispute. I don't think there's any binding arbitration that anybody has to agree to anything as a result of the collective bargaining process.
The draft I've seen, there was not. All right, so you'll get a final to us today, right?
Yes.
All right, does anyone else have any other questions on that bill? Okay, the next item on the list for the county was the vehicle emissions inspection program. The county's request was to have the county exempted from the requirements of those inspections. That bill has also been submitted to bill drafting and we don't have anything back yet. So as soon as we get that back, we will submit that as well. So does anyone on the delegation have any questions of the county while they're on the line?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, Senator. I don't see any. So, all right, Kirk, look forward to getting the rest of the information from you today. Get that moving along.
Thank you all.
Thank you. We'll move on to new business. We do have under new business, the ID1 phase 2 funding request. As you know, Governor Hogan put that $100 million into his request last week, I believe, or 2 weeks ago. It's suggested, I believe, Delegate Grossman, I agree that we should probably write a letter to the new governor and ask for that to remain in place. So we will draft that letter and get it out to everyone. If anyone has any suggestions on the draft language of that letter or any suggestions and who all we talk to about that, we're more than welcome to offer your suggestions. Anyone else have any thoughts
Just
on
fill it up with please and thank you.
that?
And
I agree.
I've started to have some baseline conversation with the new administration's chief of staff, letting them know how important that funding is for us. So just we can continue that line of communication. I think that'd be great.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate that. Next on the list, Delegate Grossman, you want to talk about Brook Lane?
Sure. I just wanted to extend just an offer of support. I think Senator Quarterman and Delegate Valentine were meeting with the leadership at Brook Lane about their proposed expansion on their home campus. And if there's anything that I can do to support that, I would be happy to do so. I think it's a vital need in our community to expand, access to mental health treatment. So just wanted to put that out there to you guys.
Yep. Okay. Anyone else have anything on that issue? Okay. Next we had white-tailed deer. I don't know if you all remember or not, but back in December, we were contacted by a gentleman from Hagerstown who suggested that we put a bill in that would forbid folks from feeding white-tailed deer on their private property because I guess in his situation, it was creating a nuisance. Does anyone in the delegation have an interest in submitting that bill either individually or as the delegation? Seeing none, we'll let that go. If anyone would like to take that on individually, just you need more information on it, just let me know. Thank you. The last item on the list prior to public comment are just kind of a list of the bond and the budget initiatives. As you recall, when we met with Hagerstown Community College, they had requested $250,000. Mainly, they wanted the Maryland Stadium Authority to do an athletic assessment or needs assessment of their facilities. So that's on the list. Sharpsburg had requested $150,000. The town, through Safe Historic Antietam Foundation, had acquired what's known as the Boyer House, which I understand is basically in its same condition as it was when the battle was fought. So they've asked for $150,000. Many of you are familiar with the small town of Ringgold, unincorporated. We've had a request from them to help with some improvements to their building. They're in an old school there in Ringgold, and the building is deteriorating. I do not have a dollar amount of that request yet. The town of Williamsport has asked for funding for the Route 11 bridge relocation. Hancock has asked for funding for the wastewater treatment upgrade and for improvements, and I believe acquisition of additional property at the Springfield Barn. The county has asked for funding for the Public Safety Training Center, additional improvements to continue that project, which is well needed and worthwhile. Smithsburg is not asking for additional monies, but there was a pre-authorization, basically of $3 million that was secured for them last year. They would just like for that to remain intact. And then the county has asked for funding, probably be through MyHigh, for improvements to a playground at Marty Snook Park. I think that's everything, but if someone else has something, certainly bring it up now or let us know if we've missed something. Those are all been assembled basically from our meetings that we've had with folks at the pre-legislative meeting. Did we miss anything?
I have two, Delegate, if I can.
Okay. Yeah.
From pre-legislative requests from the city, there was the $12 million for the field house project. And also Visit Hagerstown has a $4 million request for the expansion of, or not the expansion of, but the reestablishment of a new visitor center in downtown Hagerstown.
Okay. And were they, are they wanting bond initiatives or are they wanting
Budget?
Budget. Okay. So could you clarify for me on the field house? I thought that I saw something where that was going to be developed through private development, like 24 million. Is that
part of it is private development. This is the ask, of my understanding from when we met with the city administrator and when they presented and the mayor presented to us, is this is the ask for the gap between private public funding to fill that. And I understand that is my understanding of the desire for that project or that funding.
Okay. And do you have any details on the the new visitor center?
I have what Dan Spedden provided to me, and I know it is part of the GHC package that we
Okay.
have. And I know that group is meeting again this afternoon, so we could probably get
Yep.
some more clarity in that meeting as well.
Okay, thank you, Delegate.
Mhm.
Anyone else have anything on the
Just a
list?
clarification, Mr. Chairman, Springfield Barn is Williamsport.
Oh, did I say Hancock?
You did,
Sorry, I
That's
clearly
okay.
know that's
I just-
Williamsport.
just for clarification, that's all.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
do we know, I know the first two, we were had, the Hackensack Community College and Sharpsburg, you had defined amounts of the asks. And then obviously the latter two, the Delegate Grossman brought up with the field house and the CBB have defined amounts. All those ones in between, do we have any timeline that you know of as far as what those requests may be coming back at? Because they're all kind of open-ended. So I don't know if any of those organizations have reached back out to your office.
I know that Williamsport, as far as the barn acquisition, they had a dollar amount. Senator McKay, do you remember what that was?
I think it was $1 million, but I
I thought it
believe
was more
that,
than that.
I'm
It
sorry.
was $1 million, yes.
3 million, I believe. Chad? Mr. Rooney, are you still there?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up there quite a bit.
Yeah, so
I'm here.
was it 3 million? Was that the ask?
It was a 1 million ask for that, yes.
1 million asked. Okay.
We'll take 3.
Absolutely.
The Route 11 bridge, there wouldn't be a dollar amount associated with that unless SHA has done anything. Ringo Ruritan, I'm still waiting on them to provide a dollar amount. The Public Safety Training Center, is county still on? I don't know if they mentioned a dollar amount in your letter. Did you, Kirk?
Yeah, it's, hold on, let me pull it up here. 2.25 million for construction of the apparatus operator defensive driving training range.
Okay.
Kirk, is that in addition to, because there was some money, I think when Governor Hogan put out his kind of initiatives that obviously the new administration will have to decide to keep in there, but there was some funding in there for the public training center. Is this 2.25 you just mentioned in addition to that, or is that the same ask?
I think it's the same ask.
Okay, so just want to preserve the
I mean-
funding. Gotcha.
I mean, obviously our list of improvements out there is longer than what we're asking for, so anything additional we'd appreciate.
No, I get that.
Never pass up that opportunity, Mr. Downing.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, I think just on some of these, I guess what I was inquiring, Mr. Chair, on some of these, I think as these asks come in the dollar amounts of, capital, maybe some of the avenues, but also, I mean, Morning Snook Park, you're talking about playground equipment, maybe Project Open Space money might be available. The Hancock wastewater, I don't know, Senator McKay, if they are eligible for MDE grants, but I know some of our other municipalities and townships have been successful with capital out of those. So there may be other avenues that we can help source some of this funding from, as opposed to just a straight capital budget miscellaneous grants.
So Senator, for the wastewater, they have some pre-auths that have already been in. So I just need you to defend them on budget and tax for me, please. I don't believe it's new funding, and it doesn't need to come from us, the delegation and initiative.
Okay. Thank you for that information.
okay, thank you all. Anything else on that subject? Okay, so last on the agenda, we have a spot for public comment. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address the Washington County delegation? Please state your name and address for the record if you could. I do not see or hear anyone, so that would conclude the meeting agenda. Does anyone else have anything for the good of the delegation?
Motion to close there, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to adjourn by Senator McKay. So we are adjourned. Thank you all.